This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, right off the bat, let's address the obvious. The person next to me is not Kenny Bergamy.
No.
Yeah, shocking, I know. She is much nicer, doesn't yell at me, doesn't call me names. Joking, of course. Jennifer Parson in for Kenny this week. Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to be here, and once again, we've got a packed show coming up. Rising input costs, labor challenges, and the need for efficiency. Just some of the issues the Institute for Integrative Precision Agriculture aims to tackle. Hear from experts and farmers who share how innovation can transform their operations. This small but mighty 3-acre farming operation is a treasure trove of fresh meat, produce, and unique items. Join us as we meet James and Tammy Weeks, the passionate owners who have turned their farm into a thriving business.
Plus, love, hard work, and a dream. It's the story of one couple's journey that saw them go from high-flying careers at a major airline to thriving poultry farmers in Macon County, and why they credit family values for much of their success. These stories and so much more right now on the Farm Monitor.
We begin in Athens, where the recently established Institute for Integrative Precision Agriculture hosted its inaugural conference dedicated to advancing research and technology in the field of precision agriculture. The Monitor's John Holcomb was front and center for the conference and provides further details on what all was discussed.
With the rise of input costs, challenges with labor, and many other issues that arise, farmers and producers are looking for ways to be as efficient as possible on the farm. To help with that, the University of Georgia created the Institute for Integrative Precision Agriculture and recently gathered researchers, industry professionals, and producers together to begin working towards solutions for those issues.
So a year ago, the University of Georgia created the Institute of Integrative Precision Agriculture. We have 56 members, and we hope to get them integrated with our farmers and our industry people to be able to solve the pressing and current problems that we have. So this is a forum to exchange ideas, to form teams and start working on these problems.
During the conference, attendees got the chance to hear from several speakers, one of which was Jessica Kirk, who helps run her family's farm in Tifton. Kirk spoke about the need for innovation and how it could help them on their farm.
We are a diversified farming operation. We grow about 6,500 acres of produce year-round, everything from watermelons and cantaloupes to 15 different varieties of specialty peppers. We have a greenhouse operation where we grow around 275 to 280 million transplants that we ship out all over the United States. And then we have a pine seedling operation where we grow about 90 million pine tree seedlings.
Kirk says one of their biggest challenges on the farm is labor, as most of the work they do has to be done by hand, due to technology and machinery not being advanced enough.
Everything we do, from transplanting that product from our greenhouse into the field to the harvesting process, which goes from our field into our packing facility, all of that is done by hand. It can't be done with machinery that we currently have. The technology has not made it to where we need it to be for produce, because the standards that grocery stores have will not allow for things that are harvested with machinery to come in. It damages the product too much. So in the end, you end up losing product instead of getting it to market.
According to Kirk, the issue that comes with so much manual labor and the reason they like to see innovation is the cost of that labor, as wages have increased drastically, this year by 15% alone.
With the cost of workers, the H-2A workers we bring in, rising so tremendously over this past year, about 15%. Any way that we can use in the field from planting, putting those transplants in the ground, laying plastic, to in our greenhouse operations where we have all of our trays, where we have to sanitize them, where we're using our machinery to make sure that everything is planted properly into those trays to put in our greenhouses. All of those are bringing in, more people, and it costs more money. So any way we can lower those costs by adding innovation, by adding other systems that can do it much more quickly and maybe with less people, would be a win-win for us.
Reporting in Athens for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Small in size, yes, but New Sunrise Farms in Griffin is anything but when it comes to the number of options it provides for visitors, with items ranging from fruits and vegetables to goat's milk and chickens. Damon Jones looks at this eclectic operation and tells you what they hope to inspire.
They say that big things come in small packages, and that's certainly the case for this roughly 3-acre farming operation in Spalding County, where customers have been coming for years to get the freshest meat and produce, along with a few more unique items. It's both a business and passion project for owners James and Tammy Weeks.
7 years ago, she and I met, and we were looking for a place to buy. We bought this place, and before that, I've been in the cattle business with my dad, and I was also in the dairy business with my grandfather and great-grandfather around, and just all my life I've just done agriculture.
Despite growing and raising just about everything on this farm, literally nothing goes to waste, as they either sell or repurpose everything that is produced.
We use the milk for making soaps and lotions. We use the manures that they give off, just like the chickens and the rabbits, and we use that as compost, and we use that in our gardens instead of using chemicals or pesticides. We also make jams and jellies off the berries that we don't sell, and that way we can reuse them. Everything pretty much gets used that we're growing out here.
Even though Tammy didn't come up with the same agricultural background, there is no less passion in her work, as she is responsible for making the soaps, lotions, and jams.
I've been in the dental field my whole life. You have to be an artist to do that, and so I've always had a high art just interest, I guess. So anything that I could create is a fun thing for me. It's not that hard, it's just work. You know, just if you're willing to put in the work, you're going to have a great product.
And those products continue to fly off the shelves in the general store, not only because of the unique scents, but also the benefits they provide for skin.
Goat's milk is an anti-inflammatory. It's very soothing on your skin. Plus, obviously, the olive oil and the coconut oil are extremely good for your skin. So the combination of it all, it's very moisturizing and very, your skin feels totally different than Dial and all that when you're done with it.
So it's no surprise that this small operation casts such a wide net, as visitors from all over the state pay to visit throughout the year.
We get people from Atlanta, North Georgia, Gainesville, Savannah, South Georgia. I've had people that they're on vacation going to Florida. They stop by here because they pull us up on Google Maps, or they pull us up on Google and type in farmers market, and they see us and they stop by here and they get more than just a farmers market.
And that includes the personal aspect, as both James and Tammy are more than happy to share their story with visitors in order to motivate them to give agriculture a second look.
The biggest thing about a 3.5-acre farm here is we want people to look and see what they can do. When they come through that gate, we want them to leave here inspired to go home, grow a garden, go home and say, hey, we need to relook at our life and maybe buy us a farm.
Reporting from Spalding County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
After the break, it's off to Macon County, where a family's unity is fortified by love and their achievements in the poultry industry. However, this devoted couple's journey didn't always revolve around feathered friends. In fact, they once had careers centered around a completely different kind of bird. It's a warm, sunny day in Macon County, and the sounds of a busy farm fill the air. From high above, rows of lush crops stretch as far as the eye can see, while in these buildings, chickens cluck and scratch for every last bit of feed. These are the sights and sounds the Terror family has come to know and love. And love is what keeps this family together.
It is really special. We work together every day. My mom fixes lunch for us every day, and many times at supper has the whole family up here.
We work together with 12 poultry houses,
and we are able to take some time off when we do have chickens and go take it easy, take a little vacation, do some of the things we want to do, and let others tend to the chickens. I do it, Jason leaves, we take care of his, Daddy leaves, we take care of his. It's a good setup that we have.
The story of the Terror family is one of courage, determination, and spontaneity. In 1971, Tony and Linda Terror were living outside of Atlanta and enjoying successful careers at Delta Airlines. Linda, a flight attendant, Tony, a computer specialist. But one day after visiting family, Tony had an idea that involved ideal.
We had come to visit his parents. We had driven down, and going back, Tony said something about, what if we were to move to Ideal? And I said, Ideal? He said, yeah. He said, let's talk about it and think about it. He said, we want to raise a family. And he said, what do you think about moving there? And by the time we got back to Atlanta, we had decided we wanted to move there.
After 2 or 3 years of living up there, the country life didn't seem so bad after all. No, my job, it was, you work 7 days on day shift, 3 days off, 7 days on evening shift, 3 days off, 7 days on night shift, 4 days off, and that was the end of it. And then you just started all over again. And I love my job. We could fly anywhere we wanted to, but like she said, going back and forth one night to Atlanta, we mentioned about moving down here, and my father and brother was building homes, and I said, well, that would give us a little bit of money if we could build a couple of chicken houses, and that's what we did.
Wow. No regrets?
No regrets.
At a time when farming was becoming increasingly difficult due to changing markets and technological advances, the Terrors were undaunted. They invested everything they had in their chicken houses and worked tirelessly to make them a success. Today, their operations are thriving, and they're known throughout the area for their high-quality production in birds. So much so that in 2020, Jason was Tyson's Producer of the Year for the South Georgia Complex. Linda, on the other hand, undoubtedly emerges as the driving force behind the entire operation. Despite being in her 70s, she pilots a tractor with ease and anchors everyone with her unwavering determination. And no matter who you ask, Tony, Jason, or Scott, they all agree, Linda possesses more drive and grit than all three combined. She's a seasoned veteran. She knows what she's doing, doesn't she?
Yes, she is. We couldn't do it without her. We've had occasions where she's had other plans when we've been placing chickens, and one of us has to get back on the tractor, pull it up a little bit. We start dumping chickens again, stop the tractor, get off, and it's just a cycle, and it just works a lot better when everybody's working together.
I'm so blessed to have the family that we have, because, I mean, you know, there's a lot of families that just don't get along at all, and we have our discussions that maybe we want to go there, but you can't go. You got to take care of your chickens. That's the main concern.
So in a world where so many people are disconnected from the land and from each other, the Terror family is a reminder of the power of hard work, determination, and sacrifice. It's a story that inspires and encourages others to pursue their own dreams, no matter how difficult they may seem. Because quite frankly, the Terrors are living the American dream.
Absolutely, yes. We have our health, which, you know, I'll look around and see people. I just turned 75, and Tony will be 77 in September, and our health is wonderful. We're very blessed with our children, our health, and, you know, that's not to say what tomorrow might bring. You only promise today. And all of our children are very active in their churches, and as we are, and, you know, I just thank God for everything we have.
To be with your family and to work hard, be involved in our local church, that to me is the American dream, and doing what you love and loving what you do.
Folks, let me tell you, they are genuine to the core. Well, don't forget, if you missed any part of this story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel, The Farm Monitor. Once there, you'll find everything from instructional videos to research, as well as heartwarming human interest stories. And best of all, the archive dates all the way back to 2009.
And once you're done there, keep clicking and like the Farm Monitor Facebook page. We always tell people if you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, send us a message either on Facebook or at the address on your screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com. After the break, the extraordinary tribute to a Georgia icon. Join us as we delve into the remarkable journey of John Callaway Jr., whose legacy in the state's cattle industry has earned him a well-deserved induction into the Georgia Agriculture Hall of Fame.
Cattle fever ticks can carry a parasite that causes babesiosis, or cattle fever. The cattle fever tick was eradicated from the U.S. in the 1940s. Since that time, a quarantine zone has been maintained along the Texas-Mexico border. Despite being eradicated from the U.S., cattle fever ticks still pose a significant threat to our cattle. Having not been exposed to the parasite, our cattle are expected to be particularly vulnerable to cattle fever.
Cattle fever disease is a highly lethal disease for many of the livestock species we are invested in here in the US. Some of the main things that we're trying to work on are developments of vaccines so that we can treat the cattle and prevent the ticks from being able to transmit cattle fever disease. We're also interested in other aspects of the tick's biology, such as its genetic distribution and its population biology. Can we identify where these ticks are coming from so that we know where to develop surveillance systems and other monitoring approaches that will enable us to defend from incursions of these ticks into the US?
I'm Deanna Bodine. I'm a biological sciences laboratory technician in Coralville, Texas. I focus on doing molecular work for our genomics research unit. When we receive samples from collaborators, the first thing that we do to produce high-quality genomes is to extract DNA from the samples. Once we have high-quality DNA, we can then prepare libraries. What kind of libraries we prepare is going to depend on which sequencing instrument we're going to use. Once the libraries are ready, we add them to the sequencer. The instrument then does its job and sequences the DNA. Once that's completed, we extract or transfer the data off of the sequencer, and our bioinformaticians process the data bioinformatically.
By sequencing the genome, we're developing the molecular mechanisms and tools that are available to other scientists to develop vaccine technologies or targeted molecular genetics approaches so that we can treat the tick and make sure that it limits its ability to transmit the disease and also to enhance the host resistance to these ticks. The work that we do here is sort of acting like the foundational knowledge that we need to develop treatment mechanisms and other therapeutics to prevent the outbreak of cattle fever disease here within the US.
Finally this week, from the University of Georgia comes the story of John Callaway Jr., a true champion in his field and one of the newest inductees into the Georgia Agricultural Hall of Fame. For over 3 decades, Callaway was a guiding force in Haralson County's ag community, particularly within the 4-H program. As the leader of Haralson County 4-H for an impressive 35 years, he nurtured and shaped the young minds of countless students, leaving an indelible mark on Georgia's agricultural landscape.
I grew up in the community of Corinth in west central Georgia. Grew up on a farm. We grew cotton, we grew corn. I think I was 2 weeks shy of being 7 years old. Dad carried me to the bank and I borrowed $90 and bought a cow. I think I borrowed it in October the 7th, 1954, and then came back in August and paid the note off, had enough to pay the principal and the interest. My first calf that I sold off of that cow paid the bank note.
John has a long history of being involved with the cattle industry. He spent his youth in the 4-H club for 8 years. He went on to college at the University of Georgia, graduated animal science. was involved with the livestock judging team there. He went on to become a county agent in Clark County and then moved back toward home to be in Haralson County.
He was one of those county extension agents that everybody knew who he was, particularly in livestock circles. So even before I really knew him, I knew of him. He was very involved in many of the livestock programs, youth livestock, 4-H judging programs, all of the state shows.
His work was to support the youth. He went above and beyond the call of work. He mentored students. He judged between 50 and 60 shows during his extension career. John had over 20 master 4-H'ers to his credit during his tenure in extension.
Well, you know, once John retired from the University of Georgia in cooperative extension, he did not slow down. He became a cattle producer himself.
John went on with his wife, Marcia, and their son, Wes, to form Callaway Cattle Company.
And became very active in the Georgia Cattlemen's Association. So he has done much service in that organization, serving as president and in many other roles.
Although he may have retired, he certainly had not stepped away from working with youth in Georgia's livestock programs, and he still serves to this day at the Georgia National Fairground and Agri-Center's Authority Board, and again, focus being able to provide opportunities for youth, Georgia 4-H and FFA members in and around the livestock programs. The culmination of his career that they were able to put together a pavilion for students to be able to use for their livestock programs there in Haralson County, and Mr. John was one of the leaders and visionaries that made that happen.
One thing that I think we've been successful in getting accomplished is the Agricultural Commodity Commission for Beef.
The commission was charged to support the cattle industry through checkoff dollars.
We tried to identify things that beef producers needed: research, education, or promotion.
That created opportunity for that commission to make an impact in the cattle industry.
He has been an incredible, dedicated servant to UGA Extension, and just really set example and set the bar high for agriculture agents across the state. Not just in agriculture, but also for 4-H students.
He mentored so many 4-H and FFA students along the way, and those people have grown into adults that are active in the ag industry today. I think that is really one of his biggest legacies.
He has been an incredible, dedicated servant to Georgia's beef industry, America's beef industry, and just the work that he's doing on his farm at Callaway Cattle Company, but also just how he's given back to the various livestock programs in the state of Georgia.
Never in my wildest dreams would I have ever imagined being selected to such an elite group. I mean, those guys in there, they're my heroes, but to be even mentioned or considered in that company is humbling, and I'm so honored, and again, something I never would have thought would have happened.
Wow, an incredible human being. Our thanks to the fine folks at UGA for putting that together and for allowing us to air it here on the show.
Yes, ditto what she said. And before we send you on your way, a friendly reminder that for all the latest ag news regarding food, recipes, and what's happening on Georgia farms, be sure you check out all of our social media platforms, including farm-monitor.com. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor.
Stay safe and have a great week.